Rise of Mamdani should be it's a coming attraction of what is coming next.
Who's Mamdani?
Zohran Mamdani, the Muslim communist that is running for mayor in New York City, who obviously there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down there. He just looks kind of be like central casting, and his ideas are terrible. He wants the city to run the grocery stores, all that. But I think everyone's not everyone, but most people are missing the point of really what this is. This is yet another distress signal by young people to say, hey, if you're not going to fix our life economically, we're going to get very radical politically.
Charlie called the administration and said all the gains that we saw in that election with young people, you guys are jeopardizing them. I'll just put it in nice.
Guys, I think let's not beat around the bush here. Guys, this went bad because right now Trump is an unpopular president. I'm just going to lay it out. President Trump's approval rating on average is about 42%. His disapproval is 55%. Today, the average today is the lowest it's been his entire second term.
Yeah.
And if the guy at the top is not that popular, it's going to have a cascading effect down the ballot. And if you look at individual issues, he's underwater on inflation, he's underwater on trade, he's underwater on the economy, all of those by over 15 points. He's even underwater on immigration by 5%.
Yep.
And, some of that you can debate, is it because they want it faster versus slower? Besides the point. He's underwater, he's the guy at the top, and that's going to affect things. I think the economy is a huge deal. If you look at the numbers, look at the economy overall is shaky. The economy for people under 30 is catastrophic. Hiring for entry-level positions in the U.S. is horrible right now.
Well, and a lot of that, you're seeing these mass layoffs.
The average age of a first-time home buyer is just eclipsed 40 years old. It's gone up, I think, 9 years or something, or 7 years in like 5 years total. It's going up. The average age of a home buyer is rising faster than the passage of time.
And let's make this point. In most states, you cannot win an election if you lose the under 40 vote. The entire electorate has shifted. It is millennial heavy. If you are losing by double digits, the millennial vote, you will lose every election. And again, the female vote is contributing heavily towards that. We've got to figure it out.
You know what? Women suck. A lot of these women, they say, Nick Fuentes hates women. I do not hate women. I hate bitches. There's a huge difference, and everyone knows the difference. It's real, and everyone knows what it is. I don't hate women. I love women. I hate bitches. I just hate these bitches, man.
Desk can now project New York City has elected Democrat Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani to be its next mayor. Now, he will become the first Muslim mayor of the city and its youngest in more than a century. Not really a surprise. I don't know why people were waking up in the last, 2.5 weeks. I think they should have woke up after the primary where he handily defeated Andrew Cuomo. But back to your analysis.
Because this is where we were 12 months ago, okay, right? Trump beating Harris. One of the reasons why Republicans felt good about Virginia and they felt good about New Jersey, and maybe even things break their way to a degree here in New York City, is because the trend they believe has been their friend for some time. You go back to 2020, compare it to 2024, and the election in New Jersey for just last year, okay? Kamala Harris won the state. Now, New Jersey is a blue state. Yeah, they've had Republican governors. Chris Christie's one. Christie Todd Whitman prior to that. That was some time ago, okay? You go back 5 years ago in New Jersey, Biden won the state easily over Trump by 16 points. But 4 years later, all right, here we go yet again. Trump against Harris. He cut the margin by 10 points, losing it by 5.9 on the dot there during that presidential year.
The Fox News Decision Desk believes the governor's race in the Garden State is close. Democratic candidate Mikey Sherrill leads. The Fox News Decision Desk can also project that Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become the next governor of Virginia. Spanberger defeats Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears.
Already projection time. The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill will, in fact, become the next Democratic governor of New Jersey. Now, Sherrill defeats Republican Jack Ciattarelli, whom President Trump endorsed in May. The GOP had hoped that Ciattarelli could deliver an upset after a very close loss 4 years ago. We're going to bring back Brett and Martha to get reaction to this. Brett, I'll go back to the numbers that I threw at Martha early.
Well, first of all, Jack would have won 4 years ago, and he would have won tonight if you just take all the Republicans who've left New Jersey since I've been governor and moved to Florida. If they could have still voted in New Jersey, he would have won both of those races. Same thing with New York City. Maybe not a Republican, but, Giuliani would not be able to win with this electorate the way it is now. Because what happens, Sean, is a leftist politician gets in, whether it's destroying a state like California, Illinois, New York, whether it's a city like New York City or Chicago. And the people that it tends to drive off are the center-right voters. And so when they leave, the resulting electorate is actually more liberal. That's how you go from Lori Lightfoot to Brandon Johnson in Chicago, which is digging the hole deeper.
Call. The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that Democrat Jay Jones will become Virginia's next Attorney General, defeating the Republican incumbent, Jason Miyares. Now, in October, you may recall, Jones apologized for text messages that he had sent where he imagined putting 2 bullets to the head of the Speaker of the House of Commons and then wishing the death of that lawmaker's children and urinating on the grave. And it was even worse than that in this sense. There was no Democrat in Virginia, really, Brett and Martha, to bring you back. Martha, we'll go to you first, that was willing to condemn these remarks and distance themselves and suggest that he get out of that race. I found, an assassination culture that we're living in, how does somebody get away with that?
It's very scary. The bar has obviously been lowered to a point that we never would have anticipated. I mean, think about the fact that Joe Biden once dropped out of a presidential race because there was an accusation that he had plagiarized a section of a speech, okay? And that derailed a presidential race back in the late 80s. So this is where we are now. You can threaten to kill people, to kill their children, to call them fascists, to say you want to see them die in their parents' arms. And this is allowed. This is acceptable. This isn't even something that forces the candidate to be so embarrassed and feel so terrible that they, get up to that podium and say, you know what, I got to step aside. Obviously, that was a huge misjudgment on my part.
And then Abigail Spanberger is asked about it 4 times in a debate and doesn't say she's pulling back the endorsement. She's asked about it for several days on the campaign trail. It does sputter her campaign. She pulls out a win, but never really denounces or pulls back the endorsement of Jones, and here you have it. Now, Democrats in Virginia are going
that Trump can turn out voters, but they turn out for him. And everything I think we've seen tonight suggests that when he's not on the ballot, even if he's trying to influence the ballots, if he's not on there himself, his voters are much less interested than they might otherwise be. So that as the Republican Party moves forward here under his leadership, they have to start thinking about what it's going to be like when he's gone, and what it's going to be like in next year when we have a midterm election in which he will not be on the ballot, but the fortunes of his administration very much will be.
The affordability push by Mamdani really sticks. And that's basically inflation and how people feel about the economy. So this dichotomy between how Wall Street's doing and how big business is doing and how you feel about it at home is something Republicans really have to look at closely. But look at this spread in Virginia. It's massive.
Do you think that the young people, especially in the Mamdani race, which is fascinating to me, do you think that they liked his solutions that he was putting forward, or he was the only one who was actually talking about it?
They turned out in droves. Young people
they did.
I mean, in big numbers, 18 to 39.
Now, Ohio gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy urging his fellow Republicans to learn from last night's losses and reprioritize. Watch.
We got handed to us in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Democrats swept all 3. There's 2 key lessons for Republicans. Listen carefully. Number 1, our side needs to focus on affordability. Make the American dream affordable. Bring down costs, electric costs, grocery costs, healthcare costs, and housing costs, and lay out how we're going to do it.
This as a new poll finds about 70% of Americans say groceries are more expensive now than they were a year ago. And about 60% of them are blaming President Trump.
This administration has been too focused on old school Bushism and not enough on actual MAGA and America first. And some of that stuff dates back before the bombing of Iran for Israel. The first cracks began to show in the spring.
I mean, and this is something to look ahead to next year. I mean, we've got some really important gubernatorial elections, including here in Arizona.
Yeah.
That, Andy Biggs better be paying attention.
I don't know how to do this any other way. This is who I am. I'm brutally honest. This has been too much attention on foreign affairs, and foreign policy successes cannot save a president from his approval rating declining over things like this, and then the party suffering over it. I know he's done great things. That's not the point. It really isn't. They elected him to, what we hear all the time is, what's going on? Why is he over there? I voted for him to fix Biden's economy. I wanted him to bring the economy back that we had under his first administration. This is what we overwhelmingly hear. And then there is, and I know we're trying to avoid it here, but there's a rift going on in the actual coalition. And the larger side of this coalition feels that Donald Trump is literally their last chance to put that American dream back on the board. And they want focus on that, laser focus, Jack. And they're not getting it. They're not seeing it. Did you look at our latest polling? It's overwhelming. Go back to domestic issues, please. They're begging for it.
And that's something we're going to be talking about that a lot, because it's going to be an issue next year as well, because it is a change. In 2010, in 2014, the narrative was all the Republican advantage in midterm off-cycle elections, and that it was Obama who had those loosely affiliated voters who only turned out every 4 years.
I'd love to see the plan of the isolationists and the pacifists and the appeasers. I would love to see it. They don't have a plan. They'll get us all killed.
We were going over Levin's ratings, for instance. None of the 1835 demographic watches Mark Levin on Life, Liberty, and Levin. Gutfeld actually smokes Mark Levin in that demographic.
I just want the anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it. You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world like hell it is, not if I and everybody else have something to say about it.
I'm furious. I'm absolutely beside myself and furious. The way Mark Levin talks about this country, he should be deported. Not because you're Jewish, not because you're fat, not because you're gay, not because you're a pussy. Mark Levin should be deported because of the way he talks about this country. Where does he get off? The way he says, it's only off the table if we say so. Who the fuck do you think you are? You whiny, grating, odious, disgusting, fat piece of shit traitor. Where do you get off? Damn you. And I apologize for that. As a Christian, we shouldn't curse people, but seriously, damn you. How dare you say that? This is the United States of America. He says, little Adolf, who were his ancestors? You know who my ancestors were? Joe Cairo, okay? When my ancestors got here, they kissed the ground when they got off the fucking boat. And they served in the military, and they built this city. They built Chicago. And they love this country. They always have. They're all patriots. They love our country's God, Jesus Christ. They love this country. Who the fuck are you? And why are you here? You love Israel so much. It's not purely about Israel or the Jews. Why are you still here, fatso? Why are you and Randy Fine still here? Need more money, you fucking pissant? Need more money? Need more Americans to bleed for your wars? Need more money to go and kill children? More bullets to shoot innocent people in the back of the head, you fucking coward? It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple. It's literally that simple.
But this guy, Nick Fuentes, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. If you haven't, I mean, I have. I know he had dinner with Trump at one point, and Trump is, I don't know him. I have my picture taken with a lot of people. You know, but he's, what I would call a racist. He's just this troll. He's the guy who runs on the field at a baseball game that you don't really want to, so you don't take the picture of him, but we kind of have to talk about him.
Does that mean we can beat him up?
I would like to.
That's what happens when you run on a field with a baseball.
He's what they call a groyper. I looked into this. It's just like this group of people on 4chan, you know, the internet, which makes everything worse, and they are like pointlessly politically incorrect.
I love watching these like 60-year-old people say like, so, well, I don't even get it. You know, is it political? I don't get it. Is it like 4chan? It's like the internet. The internet sucks. Whatever. He wants to beat me up. What are you, 5'4"? What are you, 5'4" Jewish pervert? Bring it on.
If it is true that people will not vote unless Trump is on the ballot, the Republican Party is fried, then Trump leaves in 2028, that's it. Democrats are going to come in. There's going to be a communist authoritarian takeover. And I mean, communist somewhat lightly. It's not going to be as overt as like the Soviet Union. It'll be more like Chinese Communist Party. And they'll kill people. It's I stand by my prediction that by this time next year, we'll be looking at another major assassination of a political figure.
Yeah.
Before the midterms.
Exactly. It takes a long time for people's wages to get up to match what inflation happens. That's why inflation's so bad, and it's such a, you know, why it has such a negative effect, because inflation happens quickly. It can happen in a year or in 2 years. You can have prices go up by 20, 30, 40%, which is what actually happened here in the US. Things are like literally like 20 to 30% more expensive overall. The dollar lost like 20% of its buying power. And so you haven't seen wages go up 20 or 30%. So until the wages catch up, you know, people are going to feel like that. And I don't know that that is going to be solved by the end of Trump's term.
Yeah, but as far as the House is concerned, you know, historically, the majority party loses in the midterms. The only time it didn't happen was after 9/11. So you know what I think? I think as Republicans, and I say that as a Republican member of Congress, it's up to us to earn the people's vote and get rehired to be in the majority. And I very much want to do that.
So Marjorie, conservatives were criticizing you for coming on this show. I think you mentioned it already, that there were a few. And you called them, quote unquote, I believe this is you, mostly weak Republican men. So would you like to name names?
Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch! That's what a man has to say. And make me a sandwich and make it good. Turkey and provolone. Can you handle that?
You know how many things are going to change in the next 12 months?
Democrats are going to kill in the midterms for the same reason they killed this week. Democrats are going to wipe.
Depends. It depends. It depends if the prices come down.
Well, it's not just the prices.
Oh,
it's just,
that's the big one.
it's the perception that the people who get into power are always drunk with power. This administration is also just drunk. And they don't like it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, somebody who promises I'll get back to normal, they want that person to do that.
Yeah.
And that's not happening, and I don't see Trump going back. He only knows one direction, and so I think people are going to be unhappy in a year just like that, probably unhappier.
If the economy gets better, the fringe of the Democratic Party, which isn't going to change. These are the people who hate Israel. These are the people who are woke. These are the people ramming stuff down your throat. They're going to sabotage the mainstream Democratic Party.
Well, that may be Bill and other Republicans' hope. It's going to be about the economy. It's not going to be about the stock market. We live in like 5 different Americas now.
Right.
You know, John Edwards used to say there's 2 Americas. There's like 5. Okay, there's many different economies going on, and the people are absolutely suffering. I mean, they are. And it hasn't changed in the year that Trump said he was going to change it. And the more he, you know, has women dancing in martini glasses while saying you're not getting your SNAP benefits.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I missed that. Where was that? It's just not a good look.
Oh, you weren't invited?
I wasn't. Women in martini glasses?
Well, he had a I didn't hear about that one. But he had a Gatsby themed
Gatsby
Halloween party, which again, I don't give a shit for real about this. This doesn't affect anything, but it is such a bad look. It is just such
I
a
agree
bad
with that.
look.
I agree.
And he doesn't care. And again, this is going to affect.
He's going to care now. He's going to care now. The most important thing to Donald Trump, and you need to understand this, is his legacy. And he loses his House or the Senate this time next year, his legacy's shot. That's why I'm saying it's going to be a lot of change, and a lot of change fast in the next 12 months.
Okay, well, there's a prediction. We'll see how it goes.